Hey there, this is Math 6, Unit 5, Lesson 1, using decimals in a shopping context. Okay, so we're going to use what we know about decimals to make some shopping decisions here. So first of all, we have snacks from a concession stand. And it says that Claire went to a concession stand that sells pretzels for $3.25, drinks for $1.85, and bags of popcorn for 99 cents each. She bought at least one of each item and spent no more than $10. Okay, so she got at least one of everything and spent no more than 10. So 10 is the maximum amount that she could have spent there. All right, let's see what the questions are asking us here. We have lots of dollar amounts here. We also have decimal values here. If you notice here, since we're playing with decimals, we can make a couple notes here. That 325 is you kind of estimate close to 3, but a little more than 3, not much. At 25 cents, we have a ways to go. For $1.85, it's kind of close to more like 2. And if I was going to estimate anything with 99 cents, I'd probably just round it up and think of it as being about $1, right? 1.00, if I was estimating. So the first question it asks us here is, it says, could Claire have purchased, this is a could have, just wondering, could she have purchased 2 pretzels, 2 drinks, and 2 bags of popcorn? And explain your reasoning. Okay, so you don't have to add everything up to figure this out. It's just one of these could she. So can you estimate a little bit, right? You certainly could add them up, right? We could do 2 pretzels and say, well, it's $3.25 for 1 and $3.25 for 2. We could add that up. We could do the drinks and we can add up $1.85 and $1.85 for 2 drinks. And we can add the popcorn at 99 cents each and add that up as well, okay? But what we're also suggesting is maybe you don't have to add that up. We know that she has to have a total of something less than $10. If we estimated these as being somewhere like about $3 each, that's like $3 plus $3. This we estimated being about more like $2 a piece, so that's a $2 and a $2. We're already at $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 in estimating right there. That's already $10, plus we have to add the 2 popcorns, which is another $1 and $1 plus 1 plus 1. So just by estimating, we would say that Claire's probably spent more than $10. Do we know that for sure? No, we don't know that for sure. But just an estimation, we would say it looks like she most likely spent more than $10. Now, you can go ahead and add those up and verify that, but probably there's not a huge need for that. Because our estimate's going to be pretty close to the real answer. If you add them all up, actually what you end up with, just as a side note here, I'm not going to add them for you, but you end up with $12.18 if I did my math right there, right? So our estimate was very close to the actual. So you could prove that by adding them up if you chose to. So we would say, no, she couldn't do all those things. Now, could she have bought 1 pretzel, 1 drink, and 5 bags of popcorn? Well, again, remember our pretzel was $3.25 or about $3. Our drink was $1.85 or about $2. And the popcorn is sitting there somewhere at about $1 a piece. So 5 of those, so 5 times 1 is $5. So we're sitting there right at about $10. So could she have done that? We'd probably say, yeah, she probably could. It's a maybe, not sure, right? It's a maybe. If we had to kind of estimate there, it's really close. It's a matter of, well, what's going to be the difference here between this pretzel and this popcorn here, right? This is 25 cents over, and this is 15 cents. There's a difference here between those of about 10 cents, okay, in terms of our estimation. In fact, we need to add an extra 10 cents there if we're going to not estimate, okay? So we take that, we have to add an extra 10 cents. Well, that's going to put us over already. Now the 99 cents is minus 5 cents because it's going to be 5 cents less for each bag. So we have an add of 10 cents, subtract of 5 cents, and you end up being a total of 5 cents over your $10 limit. So let's just see what that actually looks like. Okay, we would do a $3.25 pretzel, right? And then we would do a $1.85 for the drink. So we're there so far. We also know that we have 99 cents. We have 5 of those, so I can actually multiply that out. 5 times 9 is 45, and then 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 more is 49. I notice that I have 2 digits behind the decimal, so I'll move the decimal here 2 spaces to get $4.95. So our popcorn is costing $4.95. Now if I add all those up, making sure that I line up all my place values here, my ones, my decimal, my tenths and hundredths. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. I carry that one right there. 9 plus 1 is 10, and 8 plus 2 is 10, so this becomes 20. So we carry the 2 there. Then I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there for $10.05. So what do we notice? We notice that she went over her $10 budget, by 5 cents, which is what we also said right there. So could she? We would say, nope, she couldn't do it here. So this is a definite no. This one's a lot closer, but still a no right there. Okay, let's look at activity number 2. Activity number 2 is a little more complicated, and so if you're doing this in class, your teacher might be giving you some advertisements from a newspaper. I actually just went to Target.com to look up some prices for this activity, but I'll show you that in a minute. It says if you're planning a dinner party with a budget of $50, so you have $50 for a party, and a menu that consists of 1 main dish, 2 side dishes, and 1 dessert, and there will be 8 guests at your party. Choose your menu items and decide on the quantities to buy so you stay on budget. If you choose meat, fish, or poultry for your main dish, plan to buy at least a ½ pound per person. Wow, okay. You use the worksheet to record your choices and estimated costs, then find the estimated total cost and cost per person, and see the example in the first 2 rows. So basically, this is the deal. You're having a party for 8 people, right? And you have $50 to spend on the whole party. So think of it this way. If I have $50 and I divide that by 8, 8 goes into 50 a whole 6 times for 48, with a remainder of 2 and a 0, bring that down. So, you know, I have a little more than $6 to spend. So 8 goes into 20 2 times, and there's 16, there's 4. So I basically have $6.25 to spend on every person's dinner. All right, I'm making a dinner party. That's my budget, $50, $6.25 is what you can spend. So let's see how you can do that by creating an actual menu. Now, first of all, the budget for our guests, we just did that, is right now we said that we took our 8 people and we took our budget and we divided that up and we ended up with $6.25. Because 6 times 8 is 48. We subtract, we get 2. Put a decimal there, add a 0, bring it down for 20. 8 goes in 22 times for 16. We subtract that for a 4, bring a 0 down, we have 40. And 8 goes into 45 times. So we know that our budget is about $6.25 per guest, is about what we should spend, or what we can spend. Do we have to spend that much? Nope. We can give them some cheap food and then save the money for going to the movies by ourselves later. Or who knows what. So here's the idea. First of all, you have your main dish. So I went ahead and I said I'm going to just do a simple dinner, and I decided I was going to do some chicken. I decided I would do just some rice. I would do a salad, and so I looked up for a Caesar salad here. And then I wanted for dessert, I just had this for Thanksgiving. I actually really like the razzleberry pie. It's a Marie Callender's pie, and they sell it at Target too. So I just went to Target.com and found some prices for some things. Now, it said that we had to have, remember that for the main dish, if you used a meat, you had to have 0.5 pounds for every person. Now, because we're doing 8 people, that meant that 8 times 5 is 40, and I have 1 digit behind the decimal there, so I have to move this to 1 space there. I would need 4 pounds of meat. So if I'm going to do chicken, I need to have 4 pounds of chicken, okay, is what I'm going to need to have there. For the rice, rice depends on how you want to buy it, but I was able to buy 1 pound of rice in a baggie. And Caesar salad, I was able to buy 2 kits of Caesar salad, and then 1 whole pie here. Now, looking at Target.com, the chicken on the Target ad said that it cost $2.99 per pound. And that's what I found in the advertisement when I went to the chicken there. So let's just see here. Well, yeah, that's what I found. So if I multiply that out, my estimated, first here, this is going to be 4 of those times about 3. So 4 times 3 tells me that's about $12 there for the chicken. Okay. In terms of the estimated cost per person, we would take the $12 and we would divide that by the 8 people. And 12 divided by 8 is going to be equal to, in our case here, $1.50. Now you could use it with a calculator, or you could do it long division here. The idea is that if you use long division, we would do 8, and 12 divided by 8 looks like this. 8 goes into 12 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. We subtract. 12 minus 8 is 4. So I'm not done yet. I put a decimal here, and then I'll immediately put a decimal up top. Okay, and we add a 0 and bring the 0 down. And 8 goes into 40. Goes in there 5 times. And it goes in evenly, and we have no remainder. So we can add another 0 there just to have a placeholder for our money. And we would say 12 divided by 8 is $1.50. So the chicken's going to cost $1.50 per person. Got it? Now the rice came in like a big old bag of rice. 1 pound of rice ended up costing 75 cents is what it costs for 1 bag of rice. So rice is not too expensive. Now, as an estimate here, I'm buying 1 of those, and it's about $1. Okay, so we're going to spend about $1 on rice, estimated there. So I would take my $1 and I divide that by 8. That's like taking, again, here's your 8, and we're going to have $1. 8 goes into 1 0 times. Put our decimal up right away. 8 goes into 10 2 times. Oh, sorry, 2 times. 1 time. Sorry about that. Goes in there 1 time. And so we have 8, and we subtract, and we have 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring the 0 down. 8 goes into 20 2 times. And so we have 16. Is it can end up right? Well, it ends up being 0.125. Can you have $0.125? No, again, it's an estimate. So we could say something like either 12 cents or 13 cents. Let's just go with 12 cents for now. Okay? Well, we'll do 13 just to round up since it's money. So about 13 cents there is what it costs for rice for each person. I noticed that they sold kits of salad, the Caesar salad kit, all ready to go, and a kit costs $3.49. So if I thought about this, buying 2 of those, I would do 2 kits times about $3.50. I left it at $3.50 because I know that $3.50 times 2 is 7. Not too bad there. So then if I estimate 7 divided by 8, well, 7 goes into 8 how many times? Well, it goes in there once, right? 7 goes into 8. I'm sorry, other way. 8 goes into 7 this way. Sorry about that. It doesn't go into 7 at all. I have to put our decimal point up right away. And so 8 goes into 70 a whole 8 times for 64. And we subtract and get 6 there. And 8 goes into 60 7 times for 56. And again, we're just estimating, so we don't have to finish that out, but we'd say it's about 87 cents a person for the Caesar salad. And the pie, online it said it cost me $6.39. I could buy one of those every day and just enjoy it. So 1 times about 6, and I left it as 1 pie because usually you can cut a pie into 8 slices, right? Not the biggest slices, but that'd be fine for a party. So 1 times 6 is 6, and again, if I take the $6 and I divide it by 8, then I end up with, in this case here, about 75 cents. Okay, so for my estimated total, my estimated subtotal is all these things here. That's going to be 12 plus 1 plus 7 plus 6. So when I add up 12, 1, 7, and 6, I end up with about $26 is my estimated total. My estimated cost per person is what happens when I add up $1.50 and 13 cents and 87 cents and 75 cents. And when I add those up, we have 0 plus 3 and 7 and 5. That's going to be a total of 15 there. Carry the 1. So 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15. 15 plus 7 is 22. So put a 2 there and a decimal, carry a 2 up there. 2 plus 1 is 3, still 3, still 3, still 3, so we have 3. So my estimated cost per person for this meal is $3.25. Again, the idea is here it says if you got, did you get close to your budget? If so, go to the next question. If you're not, change your things to make it closer. Again, I could change this. I could buy fancier rice or fancier side dish to get closer. The main thing here, just as because we're just using an example, is I didn't go over my budget, did I? Okay, and that was our goal, was to at least stay under and not, you know, have a big debt for having a party. Is this the best way to figure this out? Probably not. You know, realistically, you know, are you just going to serve chicken, plain rice, and salad and pie? Probably not. You probably want to put something on that chicken and make it taste a little better. You might want to add some of the rice to make it taste a little better. But anyways, either way, I'm staying under budget and I'm going to be okay. All right. The next thing says to calculate the actual cost of the 2 most expensive items and add them. So when we do that there, our 2 most expensive items in our case were the chicken at $2.99 a pound. Okay, and then let's just go with the the Caesar salad. Now the reason it's the most expensive is our estimated total is $12 and $7, mixing the most. So if we take our $2.99 a pound chicken times 4, 9 times 4 we have 36. So we write that just like this, and then 9 times 4 is 36. We add the other 3 for 39. Have our decimal here still, because we're doing money. And then 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 more is 11. So it costs $11.96 for the chicken, is what the actual cost would be. And then for our Caesar salad kits, which are $3.49 each, we're going to buy 2 of those. So 9 times 2 is 18. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. Put our decimal here for money, and 2 times 3 is 6, so $6.98 there. Then it wants us to add them together, so we do $11.96, and we're going to add that to $6.98. 6 times 8, or plus 8 is 14. We have 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 1 is 19, carry the 1, and 6 plus 1 plus 1 is 8, and then 1 there. So we have $18.94 for our 2 most expensive items. So how will you know if your total cost for all menu items will or will not exceed your budget? Exceed means to do what? Exceed means to go over your budget. It's going over your budget. Is there a way to predict this without adding all the exact costs? Yeah, we could do that. For me, I know that I'm not going to exceed because I was way under budget, right? I was only estimated to be able to spend about $3.25 a person. That's not very expensive there. And my total was a total of $26. I had $50 to work with, so I probably could have bought some nicer things and some nicer dishes. Maybe instead of chicken, I would upgrade that to a steak next time. Or maybe I shop at a supermarket that doesn't have low prices, and so I end up having to spend more. So you're going to do different things depending on what you do, and that's okay. So, summary today. We often use decimals when dealing with money. In these situations, sometimes we round and make estimates. Other times we calculate the numbers more precisely. So we can do estimates or we can do things precisely. Depends on what we're wanting to do with it. So there are many ways we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. When we perform these computations, it's helpful to understand the meaning of the digits in a number and the properties of operations. We'll investigate how these understandings help us work with decimals in upcoming lessons there. So we're going to pause there, let you work on your homework, and we'll see you in a minute after you do it on your own. All right, here we are for homework for Math 6, Unit 5, Lesson 1. It says May had $14.50. She spent $4.35 at the snack bar and $5.25 at the arcade. What is the exact amount of money she has left? Okay, so a couple ways of approaching this here. We can know that she has this amount, and we could subtract that, and then from that answer subtract that. Or we could combine these together for how much she spent and subtract that total from that. Either way, you have to do a couple different operations here. I'm going to first of all go ahead and add those together to see how much she spent. So she spent $525 plus $435, that's what she spent. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, include my decimal. 5 plus 4 is 9. So I know that she spent $9.60. She started with $14.50, and my goal is to find how much she had left. So we'll do the $14.50, and we're going to subtract $14.50, we're going to subtract $9.60 from that one right there. So 0 minus 0 is 0. I can't do 5 minus 6, so I have to borrow from here. So that becomes a 3, and this becomes a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. Keep the decimal there. 3 minus 9, can't quite do that, so I borrow there. We have 13 minus 9, which is 4. So, how much money does she have left? She has $4.90. Again, you could have done a different order, but you still end up with $4.90 as your solution right there. Number 2. A large cheese pizza costs $7.50. Diego has $40 to spend on pizzas. How many large cheese pizzas can he afford? Explain or show your reasoning. Well, saying how it's just Diego, he can really only afford one. He shouldn't eat more than one whole pizza or else he might not feel good the next day. But let's pretend that he can eat as much as he wants. So if he had $7.50, the question is $7.50 times how many can get you close to $40. But really, we don't want to be equal to $40. We want to make sure that we are what? Less than $40. Okay? That's what we're asking. We want to make sure we don't go over our budget there. So I thought of it this way. I thought, well, if he was to buy 2 pizzas, $7.50 times 2, I would have a total of, decimal there, $15 for 2 pizzas. So I know he can get 2. And I thought, well, I know that I need to get to 40. So if 2 gets me to 15, then I know that in our case here, 4, because I multiply this times 2 more, would get me to 30, right? So 15 times 2 is $30. So I know that I have 4 pizzas, and I'm not quite there yet. I can't do another 2 pizzas because 30 plus 15 is 45, but I could certainly do one more pizza for $37.50. So that's one more pizza there. So in total, it looks like he could order 5 whole pizzas. Now, how you go about solving that, that's up to you. There are other ways of doing that, but that's one way of looking at how you can figure that out. Number 3. Tickets to a show cost $5.50 for adults, $4.25 for students. A family is purchasing 2 adult tickets and 3 student tickets. Estimate the total cost. Sure. All right. Well, $5.50, and we have about 2 of those people, right? We have 2 of those for $5.50. And the student tickets, we have 3 of those, so it's times about 3 of those. Estimating depends on what you want to do. If you want to say that this is about $6 each, okay, you could say this is about 6. So 6 plus 6 is about $12 for the adult tickets. This one here is about $4 times 3, which is another $12. So maybe about $24 is an estimate. To find the exact cost, we'd multiply this, and 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1, and 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11, so the exact cost is $11 for the adult tickets, plus, and then we have 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, decimal place there, and 3 times 4 is 12, so $12.75. When we add those up, we can add them this way right here if we wanted to. We end up with 5, 7, 3, and 2. We have $23.75 is the total amount of the exact cost. If the family pays $25, what is the exact amount of change they'll receive? Well, change is found by taking how much you have and subtracting from that what you spent. So we have to borrow here. That becomes a 10. We borrow from the 10 to make that a 9, and this becomes a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. Keep our decimal place there. And 4 minus 3 is 1, and that's 0. So the change would be $1.25. All right, number 4. Chicken costs $3.20 per pound. Beef costs $4.59 per pound. Answer each question and show your reasoning. What's the exact cost of 3 pounds of chicken? So here's our chicken. We're going to multiply it by 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6, decimal point. And 3 times 3 is 9. So we would say $9.60. How about 3 pounds of beef? We'll multiply 459 times 3. 9 times 7 is 27. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. Carry the 1, 17. Decimal is there. 3 times 4 is 9. 2 times 4 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. So our beef is going to be $13.77 right there. How much more does 3 pounds of beef cost than chicken? So we're comparing how much more something than something. So we're comparing $13.77 and $9.60 and finding out what the difference is going to be. 7 minus 0 is 7. 7 minus 6 is 1. Decimal there. And we do a borrow. 13 minus 9 is 4. So the beef costs $4.17 more. Think back to our lesson today when we bought chicken in my menu thing. The chicken kept the price down. If I had bought beef, it would have cost more and my total would have increased. Alright, number 5. How many 1/5 liters glasses can fill a 1.5 liter bottle of water? So what we're asking is, how many, if I have 1/5 glasses, how many of those, times how many of those, would it take to get up to 1.5 liters for a bottle of water? If I have 1/5 of these glasses, how many of those could I have in order to get to that amount? Or as a division problem, this becomes what? This becomes 1.5 divided by 1/5 equals what I'm looking for. Alright, that's my setup. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so we have 3 over 2. And instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay. Can I reduce anything here? Not really. So we multiply straight across. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2. So I have 15 over 2 is how many of those I can use, glasses I can use, or 7.5 if I want to make that a mixed number. Alright. Okay. Question B, same kind of idea. It's going to review from Unit 4. How many 1.5 liter bottles does it take to fill a 16 liter jug? Again, same idea. How many 1.5 things? 1.5 times how many does it take to get to 16 liters? Or as a division problem, 16 divided by 1.5 equals what? So this becomes 16 times the reciprocal. 1.5 is the same as 3 over 2, but the reciprocal is 2 over 3. Alright, so that's 16 over 1. Multiply straight across. 16 times 2 is 32 over 3. And 3 goes into 32 10 whole times with 2 left over. So we would say 10 and 2/3 bottles of water to fill that jug. Alright, number 6. Number 6. Alright, use the grid to complete this problem. Now maybe because I have the first edition book here, not the second one, it's not going to quite work out. It says let the side length of each small square in each grid represent half of a unit. Okay, if I do that, I honestly don't have quite enough squares there. So I made each square, for me, I made it represent 1 unit. Okay, otherwise I couldn't make it work. Right, draw 2 different triangles, each with a base of 5.5 and an area of 19 1/4. Alright, so in order to make that triangle work, I had to have a base, and the other element I need to have for my area of a triangle is a height. I'm going to zoom just a little bit here. I have to have a height as well. And that's because, remember, area equals 1/2 of a base times a height. And we got that because a square is length times width, or base times height, and triangle is half of the square. So in this case here, we have the area is 19 1/4 is equal to a half times a base, which is 5.5, and we have no idea what that height's going to be. I can't draw a triangle until I figure out what that height's going to be. So I need to solve this problem first of all before I can move forward. So let's go ahead and do a couple things here. This one here, we can rewrite this as it's improper. 4 times 19 is actually 76, plus 1 is 77. So this becomes 77 over 4 is equal to a half times, and let's make this improper. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So 11 over 2 times h. I'm going to go ahead and combine these as my next step. So I have 77 fourths equals 11 over 4 times h. And so to get the h by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 11 fourths. So I end up with 77 fourths divided by 11 fourths equals h. And to solve that, we do 77 fourths times the reciprocal, 4 over 11. And then I can reduce, and 11 goes into 77 7 times. And so my answer is 7 for my height. My height is going to be 7. So now I know I have a height of 7. So this is where my base doesn't quite work out. If this was each going to be, well, even my height, if my height's going to be 7, if this was a half, how many of these half things would I need to get to 7? Well, it'd be 7 times 2, which is 14. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It doesn't work. That's why I changed it to be 1 unit long, okay? So, not the end of the world, just what it is. So, let's make a triangle with a base of 5.5. So, I'm going to go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. And my height is going to be 7. So, we'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we can connect this dot here. Make sure that's a right angle because that's a height. So there's my 7, my 5.5, and my area is 19 1/4. So that's one triangle. Can I make another? Sure can. As long as I want to make sure that the base is still 5.5, I'll be okay. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And if remember, as long as I come down at a 90-degree angle, I can make my height at any spot. So I can actually make it right here. This is my height there. And I can connect the dot like this to make a triangle like that. And that becomes my triangle. So this whole thing is 19 1/4. This is my height of 7 and my base of 5.5. Alright, so why does each one have the same area? Well, it has the same area of 19 1/4 because it has the same base and the same height. And that's just how it's found. It looks different, but it's the same idea. And finally, our last one here. Find each quotient. So 5 6 divided by 1 6 is the same as doing what? It's the same as multiplied by the reciprocal. So that cancels, and you're left with 5. Here, let's write this as an improper. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7 6. Multiplied by the reciprocal, 12 over 1. So this reduces. 6 goes in here 1 time, 6 goes in here 2 times. Nothing else reduces, so we're left with 7 times 2 is 14. And finally our last one, we have 10 6 times the reciprocal, 24 over 1. And 6 goes in there 1 time, 6 goes in here 4 times. And 10 times 4 is 40, and that's it. Alright, that's all for today. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.